Imagine a world where wealth doesn't shout, it whispers, where the most powerful dress codes are invisible to the uninitiated, and where wearing a $100,000 watch reveals no ostentatious logo. Today we dive into the fascinating universe of quiet luxury, this philosophy that entirely redefines the rules of social status and contemporary elegance, a movement that transforms discretion into the new universal language of power and absolute refinement. Quiet luxury, or discreet luxury, represents much more than a simple passing trend in the fashion and design industry. This sophisticated approach to luxury finds its roots in European aristocratic traditions, where wealthy families have always preferred invisible quality over loud displays of wealth. Unlike the ostentatious luxury that dominated the 80s and 2000s, quiet luxury privileges exceptional craftsmanship, noble raw materials, and impeccable cuts, rather than oversized logos and flashy ornaments. In the world capitals of luxury, from Milan to Tokyo via New York, this philosophy is gaining ground among financial elites, technology entrepreneurs, and heirs to great fortunes. Fashion houses like Loro Piana, Brunello Cucinelli, and the Row perfectly embody this minimalist aesthetic where a cashmere sweater can cost €3,000 without displaying the slightest visible logo. This radical transformation of luxury reflects a profound evolution in social values and the aspirations of contemporary privileged classes. If you appreciate this exclusive content on the world of luxury and wish to discover more secrets from the world of billionaires and prestigious houses, don't forget to subscribe to Lux Eternal and activate the notification bell to not miss any of our in-depth investigations. Also, check the link in the description to participate in our exclusive giveaway and try to win exceptional prizes. The meteoric rise of quiet luxury in the collective consciousness is explained by several major cultural and economic factors. The television series Succession played a determining role in popularizing this aesthetic to the general public, with the sober butte, extraordinarily expensive costumes of the characters instantly becoming global stylistic references. Informed consumers now seek timeless pieces that transcend the ephemeral cycles of fast fashion and testify to ancestral know-how passed down from generation to generation. In the universe of luxury watches, this philosophy translates into renewed enthusiasm for manufacturers like Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, and A. Lange & Amp. Sona, whose timepieces can be worth several $100,000 while remaining visually sober and elegant. Savvy collectors privilege invisible horological complications and artisanal finishes that completely escape the gaze of laypeople. Rarity becomes the new ultimate criterion of desirability, replacing instant brand recognition with a form of exclusivity reserved for true connoisseurs. Exceptional workshops that perpetuate traditional techniques threatened with extinction are experiencing a spectacular revival thanks to this growing demand for authenticity and discreet excellence. In the field of prestige real estate, quiet luxury radically transforms the expectations of wealthy buyers. Exceptional properties now value harmonious integration into the natural environment, sustainable and noble materials, and refined spaces rather than ostentatious architectural demonstrations. Interior designers like Axel Vervoort or Vincent van Duysen embody this approach, where each piece of furniture tells a millennial story and testifies to exceptional craftsmanship. The private residences of billionaires adopt a zen and minimalist aesthetic, privileging discreet contemporary artworks and rare antiques rather than gilded ornaments and flashy marbles. This profound transformation also reflects a growing ecological consciousness within privileged classes, even if this concern sometimes remains more symbolic than substantial. Traditional luxury brands must completely rethink their marketing strategies to adapt to this new demand for discretion and authenticity. Hermes represents the perfect archetype of this philosophy, with the French house having always privileged artisanal craftsmanship and exceptional quality rather than loud communication. A Birkin or Kelly bag can reach prices exceeding $100,000 on the secondary market without ever displaying an ostentatious logo, recognition occurring exclusively among insiders. This strategy of controlled rarity and discreet excellence generates endless waiting lists and incomparable desirability in the contemporary luxury industry. Noble fibers like Mongolian cashmere, vicuña from the Peruvian Andes, or Japanese wild silk become the new markers of social status for informed connoisseurs. A pure vicuña coat can cost €40,000 while resembling a simple beige overcoat to the untrained eye. This apparent invisibility precisely constitutes the very essence of quiet luxury, creating a form of secret code accessible only to members of an informed elite. Artisanal shoes made to measure by bootmakers like John Lobb, Berluti, or Gaziano Namp, Girling perfectly illustrate this quest for invisible excellence. These creations can require more than 50 hours of manual work and cost several $1,000s without ever displaying the slightest visible brand. The natural patina of leather over the years becomes the true testimony of quality and authenticity, far more precious than any golden logo. In the universe of luxury travel, this philosophy radically transforms the expectations and destinations favored by the ultra-wealthy. Confidential hotels nestled in remote and preserved locations replace the ostentatious palaces of large tourist metropolises. Establishments like the Aman Tokyo, the Fogo Island Inn in Canada, or Singita in South Africa embody this new form of discreet hospitality, where impeccable service takes precedence over spectacular architectural demonstrations. Authentic experiences and deep cultural encounters become more valued than flashy presidential suites and sumptuous buffets. This evolution reflects growing cultural maturity within privileged classes, who now seek personal enrichment rather than the simple accumulation of status symbols. New generation yachts also adopt this refined aesthetic, privileging sober lines and natural materials rather than gilding and ostentatious equipment. Shipyards like Feedship, Lursen, or Benetti develop super yachts, whose minimalist design conceals cutting-edge technology and exceptional craftsmanship. These vessels can cost several $100 million while maintaining a relatively discreet appearance that contrasts radically with the extravagant mega yachts of the previous decade. Private aviation undergoes a similar transformation, with personal jets adopting zen and refined interiors rather than excessively gilded cabins. Companies like Gulfstream and Bombardier offer minimalist configurations where noble materials and impeccable finishes replace superfluous ornaments. Quiet luxury also profoundly influences the food choices and gastronomic habits of contemporary elites. Discreet restaurants run by visionary chefs in secret locations become more sought after than publicized starred establishments. Addresses like Rao's in New York or Burnt Ends in Singapore embody this philosophy, where exceptional quality takes precedence over ostentatious decor. Artisanal products from small, passionate producers, from mountain cheese aged for 5 years to traditional balsamic vinegar from Modenaged 25 years, become the new markers of culinary refinement. This gastronomic approach privileges the complete traceability of ingredients and ancestral production methods, rather than spectacular presentations and molecular techniques. The wine cellars of informed collectors fill with bottles from small unknown family estates rather than over-publicized classified grand crus. This search for authenticity and discovery reflects an increased sophistication of the palate and oenological knowledge of wealthy enthusiasts. In the universe of contemporary art, quiet luxury translates into renewed interest in minimalist and conceptual works rather than spectacular creations intended to impress. Private collectors, privileged talented emerging artists, and undervalued historical pieces rather than publicized auction records. This approach reflects a deep understanding of art history and a long-term vision of cultural investment. Confidential galleries, accessible only by appointment, replace commercial art fairs and worldly openings as privileged places of acquisition. Quiet luxury ultimately represents a silent revolution in the very definition of social status and personal success. This philosophy values deep knowledge, patience, exceptional quality, and authenticity rather than instant recognition and ostentatious accumulation. In a world saturated with images and permanent communication, the choice of discretion paradoxically becomes the most powerful and distinctive gesture. This evolution perhaps marks the transition from a culture of appearing to a culture of being, where true wealth resides in lived experiences, accumulated knowledge, and authentic relationships rather than invisible possessions. Quiet luxury reminds us that true elegance never needs to shout to be noticed. It radiates naturally through quality, consistency, and sincerity.